Alrighty guys, what's up? How's it going? So I'm going to try and do a little bit of a riding review here, the 2018 Eluder. I did for those of you that haven't watched the regular review, I did just a spec review and everything else, and then I did the installation of the new exhaust, which were just slip-ons by Tab Performance, and then I just did a short blip of the backrest. I didn't actually do the installation video, merely just because it was just a lengthy thing. It's just easy to explain it, and anybody that chooses to do it themselves, it's really easy to put on once you follow it. You know, if you just look at the directions real quick and just know which parts go where, it doesn't take too long. It does take a little bit to wiggle it on and off if you just have to push on it right, and then you'll see in the video that I did, that'll probably be either before or the end of this video, that you just have to, you know, just wiggle it around. It really made me look bad on that. But anyway, so real quick, we're just going to go over a bunch of different things. I'm going to give you just kind of like a personal opinion on it riding. I didn't want to make this video until I had some mileage on this bike. I currently have 2,684 miles on it, so I've ridden it pretty good. But now I got people texting me left and right. But you know, it's a phenomenal bike. I know I used a lot of these words pretty much the same, or at least in a lot of the videos, and I use them multiple times. But you know, when I really feel, you know, pretty passionate about something, or at least feel that it's worthwhile, you know, it definitely is. You know, I try to express my opinion in an easy way. So you'll be able to hear the exhaust as I'm riding. It is kind of loud, but you'll be able to hear me talking as we go. I'm just going to go over the different, you know, handlebar controls, the 7-inch touchscreen display and stuff like that. And you know, I'm just going to go through some corners and stuff like that, show you how it rides and how well it leans. 875 pounds, it does itself really good. As far as handling, obviously turns are a little bit, you know, more difficult because it is longer, but it's still it's very manageable. It's not, you know, like you're really gonna, you know, knock it over, not be able to do some sort of fun riding with it. So without further ado, we'll get going here, and we'll get this ride on. Now I usually have gloves on, but these controls are very easy to find with or without gloves, so it's no issue there. So sometimes the GPS seems to have itself a little bit of an issue centering itself, but then it picks itself right back up. So if you see it's kind of getting a little wonky on you, it'll straighten back out, no problem. Most of the time, if I'm riding around town, I'm between 4th and 5th gear. 4th gear, I find I love riding 4th gear. 4th gear just seems to have a lot of easy torque manageability to it, especially if you're going around turns slow on up, and you can pull out of those turns real nice. It's just a very good gear to be in overall, I think. Rarely hit 6th gear unless I'm on the highway, or if like I'm going through a neighborhood and I really just want to quiet the bike up because it does get kind of loud. But like I said, overall the handling's real nice. This is a fairly sharp turn, but all right. Well, I don't know if those clouds are actually dark or if it's just my tinted visor. Okay, they're dark. The weather all of a sudden decided it wanted to change. And as we ride around, you're going to notice pretty much where I live. It's not hard to tell considering it's a tourist town. I live in Hershey, Pennsylvania. And yeah, traffic tends to suck. So you'll probably hear me complain about that a lot. Tried making this video yesterday, and that's all I kept bitching about was just traffic. But anyway, so the clutch release on this, I bet you, I don't know if you can see in the video, you know, you really don't let out too far. And I have the clutch and the brake set on setting 5, so they're all the way in. It just makes it for easy grabbing. You don't really have to search for them too much, which is, I always find whatever's the most comfiest and the easiest just makes the ride a little bit better. We're going to go down this road here. As far as holding back, even with the new pipes on, the back pressure still holds itself very well. There's a little bit of a difference, and you can notice it, but it's nothing drastic, I don't think. Throttle control on this is very on point for being the ride-by-wire. I don't feel like there's any lag. Now I have it set in sport mode, so it basically just tightens up the throttle. Like, you get more throttle out of it with a little bit less of a twist. Where touring is basically like any other motorcycle, where you can, there's a lot of stones on this road. If you're in touring mode, you know, you're 0%, 0%, 100% full twist. Sport mode, it changed that up a little bit. I really gotta make people angry when I go riding past their house. These mufflers are pretty much a straight tube the whole way through. And I really like downshifting. Always deer on this road back here. And stones. Stones seem to be a big thing. They don't clean these roads too well. The shifting on this bike is so smooth. I mean, when you shift into first gear, you get that kind of large clunk like you do on most big V twins. But I think that comes with the, you know, the territory and just the size of the bike itself. I haven't really found too many big V twins that don't have a hard clunk when you go into first gear, but as far as shifting the rest of the gears, it's not bad. Braking, I mean, yeah, it's kind of hard to tell in a video how well or how easy this thing brakes, but you hit both of them and it brings this thing to a good halt. Oh, looks like there's a lot of people out. Everybody's celebrating Easter, and here I am out here just making havoc. My apologies, people. Out here having fun, scaring animals. So all the controls themselves are very, oh god, they're really got a lot of people going. I apologize, people, I didn't mean to mess up your party. Get out of the way here and then I'll start talking again. I've been hit by a bird once on a bike and it doesn't feel good. It's like somebody threw a freaking softball at me while I was trying to ride and about knocked me off the bike. I hit it doing about 50. Alright, so the controls themselves, like I said, very manageable. You know, you can reach them. I'm not really looking down, but I know, you know, cruise controls here, your activations on and off here, your starter, your kill switch. Over here you got your turn signals, your horn, you got your volume, you got your headlights and, you know, your pass on the bottom. Your little command prompt, or joystick, it's not even a joystick, your little command buttons for the screen, which are all momentary. And what I mean by momentary is like, so if I hit this button here, or if I hit the home button, which is this guy, make sure nobody's coming. Bad intersections, can't even see people come down over this hill. It gets to be a little spooky some days when you pull out and people aren't paying attention, they're flying down the hill. So momentary, I mean, you pretty much can go up. You can either hit left or right. When it's yellow, it means it's highlighted to click. So if I click like the left side, it'll go into the menu. So you just have to make temporary clicks. And I'll make a thing going through this whole screen, just so you can kind of see the different settings you have. Like the heater setting here, so your grip heaters, you can set your rider, oh my god, I forgot how bumpy this road is, and your passenger. Each level is high, medium, and low. This bike does not have a separate control in the rear for the passenger, like the Venture does, so you have to set each level up front, and you have to turn it, once your seat's on, the rear seat's on, so you just have to set them individually as far as the heat temperature. So I have the rear heat set a little bit higher than my seat, or you know, you can change that if that's what you choose. I usually ride in medium or low because and they're not even turned up that much, but these things do get really warm. I know in the high setting, if you leave it, it gives you 1 through 10. And if you have it turned up above 7 or 8 on the grips, it gets to the point where even with gloves on, that you have to constantly let go because they get really warm. So I usually just, I have it back down a little bit, but I usually just run it low. Not so much obviously now since the weather's finally breaking, but same with the seats. Seats operate the same way. Oh, that washed out real bad. Then, you know, you have control over your radio. I mean, here you can zoom in and out on the map. Another busy intersection. Well, don't look too bad today. And we're just gonna go. So you can go to the music, otherwise you go to the main menu, but you can access other menus just by hitting the home button itself, and the button in the center is your enter button. So it lets you click on certain things. Yeah, so you have your enter button here, you have your home button here. So like if I go into this menu, it gives me function, which I think it was already because I was in this menu. Oh, without even using turn signal, my bad. I'm usually pretty good about that stuff. So you have your audio, you have your comms, you have your navigation. Navigation will let you go through your typical GPS style things. Your comms, which I don't have connected because I run the center on the side of the helmet. You have to be plugged into the actual bike right here by the tank with the headset, and you have to buy that through Yamaha, or I think it's HJC, so you can go to either one of those two. And there's a trigger that activates off your index finger on the back side of your left grip that lets you talk through like the CB radio and stuff like that. As far as any of the other regular menus, like when you first hit the home button, this is the screen you're going to get. It's going to give you your average fuel consumption, fuel range left, or your momentary fuel consumption. So it gives you like a live reading of it. And then you can panel through this screen. It does have a tire air sensor to it, which I don't have. That comes stock on the Venture, but otherwise you have to pay for it separate and have it added on this bike. I don't know that I'm going to add it. I don't really need to add it. I check my tires. You know, if they seem to be a little on the low side, or if they feel low, I'll check them. I just use the regular gauge. Average speed, and then it gives you your running time. So the bike's been on for 18 minutes. It resets itself every time you shut the bike off, so I'm not sure the intent purpose of it. But like if I pull up to a gas station, sometimes I won't even turn the system off. I'll just go to accessory mode, because you have to be either in the off or accessory to open up the fuel door here. So if you leave the system fired up, it'll just continuously count that way if that's the way you choose. Let's hit this again. And then here you get your battery voltage, your outside air temperature, and another fuel range thing. So there's a couple of redundancy things in here, just so if there's a certain screen you like to have up, you at least have some of the important things still reading. And then I'm not even sure what the little right tab does if I hit that, but we'll go back. So then it also gives you, since the radio plays, or at least have it on, it gives you that as a home button thing as well. But I have my primary home set to the navigation, just because I like to be able to see what streets are coming up. Gives you one ways, it gives you stoplights, so it's easy just to kind of look down real quick, because when I'm out riding with my buddies and we're connected into our headsets, I can just be like, hey, you know, there's a road up here we can turn around on, or I can see the road in advance if I don't necessarily want to plug the address in, and I can at least see if there's, you know, which way the road's face, especially if you're in like a city or something like that, that you can easily tell without having to constantly be looking for signs, and you can kind of keep your eyes forward and just have a quick glance at it. On that screen itself here, it gives you the time in the up left-hand corner, and then it also gives you your your compass to let you know which way you're facing. Right side, you can see it's a digital speedometer. On the bottom side, it'll tell you what music's playing. Then it'll show you like your XM or your satellite connectivity. So I have all 3 bars, which is full. Bluetooth's connected, and then it gives you, I don't know what the microphone's for. I'm assuming that's something to do with the CB radio, but I'm not sure. I don't really use it. Probably would have been nice to get on the highway just to get cruising a little bit here. But that's okay. We'll go up through the center of town. See what kind of crap they got going on today. Bumps everywhere. I scrape all the time coming up this. I tend to take it just a little too hard, but that's okay. Yeah, so then when your grip heater and your seat heaters are on, it'll also notify you that those are on as well. So I'm hoping nobody comes. Actually, I want to go take pictures of this bike, which I haven't done yet. And of course I wanted to stay on that road down there. So we'll go up here and we'll cut out and go back over, since I have no idea where I want to be going, making that very apparent. So at the bottom of your speedometer, you have your little LCD readout that gives you your trip 1 and trip 2. It also gives you, obviously, the speedometer itself, and then it also notifies you what gear you're in and if you're in a sport or touring mode. The one complaint I have, and not that it really matters too much, and some of the seasoned riders will be like, well, you should already know what gear you're in. But it does... Alright, I'm coming through. It goes away when you squeeze the clutch in. So right now I'm in gear 2, but then if I click it, there's 3. The minute I pull it in, it disappears. So sometimes if you're making like a rapid shift or something like that, and you just want to verify, what gear you're actually in, so you don't gear down too hard, that could affect you a little bit. I don't know. It's to me, it's just one of those little nitpicking things. Like I said, I don't really look at it all the time. Occasionally on the highway I'll look down just to see where I'm at, because I occasionally forget that I have a 6th gear, which like I said, I don't really use unless I'm above like 65, 70. Then I might click into it just to kind of drone down the exhaust a little bit and get the fuel mileage up if I'm on a long haul or something. But other than, that's like I said, it's just minor things. Other minor things that I've stated in my last videos, some of the plastic pieces here that I'm not a huge fan of. The UBS, which is the unified braking system, I don't know how many other bikes actually have something like that, but I know Yamaha has made that a huge thing for their bikes. Is that it works fantastic, and you can feel it kick in as well. This thing draws a lot of attention. Like, so when you over grab, or if you grab really hard on the front brake or push really hard on the rear, it evens itself out. And if you're not used to it, you're kind of like, okay, I'm pushing on my rear. Like if I'm holding my front brake and you go to push the rear brake, it feels like it's locked up, but here it's the system actually working. And the first 2 or 3 times I wasn't used to that, and I'm sitting there pushing on the rear brake and I'm like, okay, this isn't good, why is it locking up? And then after researching it, that's the UBS kicking in so that it's slowing up, which is really good on a bike like this being so heavy, that it gives you an even braking system, and then it works alongside the ABS to ensure a safe and controlled stop in an emergency, or just in general. Sometimes you get that light that switches, or somebody cuts you off or does something stupid in front of you and you have to make a like an emergency maneuver of some sort. That it really helps control things. I've been involved in an accident and I ended up fishtailing and then grabbed the front too hard to the point where it actually knocked my front end out from underneath me. So I know guys are like, oh well, it's experience, this and that. That's all fine and dandy, but the downfall is just make sure I don't hit him. When you're caught up in a situation, you can't always, you don't always think of that kind of thing. I've been riding for a little while now, and when I was involved in my accident, I said to people, it's amazing how slow motion everything gets. You see that stuff in the movies, and you're like, oh yeah, that'd be pretty neat. But like, you truly experience that. I had 2 car lengths to stop. From 40 to 0 when this lady pulled out in front of me, and it was like, I thought it took like 45 seconds to a minute. Like I remember hitting the rear brake, starting to fishtail, sticking my leg down, which really didn't go well. And then I was like, oh, if I let off the brake, I might be able to stand it back up, regain traction, maybe go out around. Well, then she stopped. The minute she pulled out in front of me, she stopped right in the middle of the road, and then I grabbed the front brake too hard, and it actually slid the front end out from underneath me, and I laid it on its side. It went right into the back end of the car. So there's like so many different things I remember thinking about at that one time, and I'm sitting there like, man, I've talked to a couple people here and there, and they're like, oh, if you'd hit the brakes like this, you might have been able to save yourself, blah blah blah. And I'm like, that's fine and dandy, but in in a matter of seconds. You know, you really don't think about that kind of thing. So, you know, it's fine, and it's fine to have people kind of coach you through that, but at the same time, you don't need to kind of harp on it, because things do happen in an emergency situation. On the right side, you have your tachometer and your fuel gauge. That's the only thing that lights up on that side, except for the low fuel light. And there's the security light here. I don't know what the little light at the bottom is. Maybe a shift light or something like that. I don't think I've seen that pop on, because I think the fuel light itself just lights up, which I think I've only seen once. Currently have the traction control off. If you hold this button in here, it lets you turn it on and off, but you have to be able to stop to do it. I ride with it off. I feel like I get a better control out of it, like the bike isn't trying to hold me back, but then again, I don't know if that's legit or not. I just know riding other Yamahas that have the traction control on it, that when the traction control is engaged, it kind of limits your throttle, like, you know, if you're holding it wide open or something like that, sometimes to kind of control your speed or something. So I don't know, I feel like you get a better response out of it with it off, but if it's raining or the road conditions are a little crappy, then I'll turn it back on, just to make sure I have all the systems working together. Your neutral lights over here. Couple other lights, I don't know, I've never seen them actually light up. You know, obviously when the bike's off, it just gives you a check engine light and some other things there. And then, like I said, if you hit this button here, it shifts through the different trip counters and stuff like that. I think I'm gonna get rid of this. I don't really like having my phone there. Rarely do I put my phone there, but you constantly have to push it out of the way to get the fuel door to open up. So I'm gonna either move it or get rid of it, not sure. The footboards themselves, they're nice sized. Occasionally I'll bring my foot back here if I'm just kind of, you know, cruising through some turns or something. Otherwise, you know, I can really push it up to the end. And the pedals are in a good spot too, so you can tuck your foot underneath or, you know, get it up there with no problem. Same for the clutch. You know, clutch is perfect. Click it up and down. Now they do make not an aftermarket, but they do make a different clutch that you can put on here, or clutch pedal. And what that does is it's all black with a flat plate on it, and then it has the capabilities of putting on the heel shifter as well. So I might do that just to add a little something different. I've never actually rode with one, but I don't know how well that would ride, you know, if you really want to be able to move your feet around in this. And then I'm looking for maybe a set of highway pegs that'll come out along the side that I can put on, maybe on the roll bar down there. So we'll see what happens. So alright, I hope this review kind of gives you a little bit of something. I'm going to try and take some photos of the bike, and then if you have any questions, let me know. The windshield, real quick, it curves up like right here. It's perfect. The other one only comes up like 6 inches, I think. This was a 6-inch extra, so it really helps out. I look pretty much over it. I sit 5'8", and it comes up probably about nose level, and it really pushes the wind around you nice. And then I think I'm going to get the fairings for the side, like I stated in the other video, just to be able to scoop air out around me. So yeah, if you have any questions, please comment below, subscribe, get some conversation going. From the last videos, the conversations were great, so I really appreciate it, and it's nice just having, you know, motorcycle talk with people. Alright, well, ride safe and enjoy your day.